Xiao Hang was an office worker who had long been a corporate slave. One day he suddenly unlocked access to absolute freedom. The more he enjoyed life, the more wealth he gained. From an ordinary employee he rose to become a boss. Xiao Hang crushed the fanatical devotees and emerged as an extraordinary conglomerate. This story began when Xiao Hang tried to request a 2-day leave to handle a family emergency. Unfortunately, his indifferent boss flatly rejected the request. Xiao Hang had even promised to make up for the unfinished work after returning, but his request was still denied. The manager never lifted his eyes from his phone screen. He said that their department was understaffed and leave could only be granted under exceptional circumstances, like a funeral. His attention was entirely fixated on a beautiful woman in a live-streaming broadcast. The manager wasn't just an ordinary viewer. He was a major contributor who frequently wasted money on his favorite streamers. As he sent a virtual rocket gift, the broadcast's atmosphere intensified. The music grew louder, and the woman's dancing became even more provocative. Meanwhile, Xiao Hang kept trying to explain. He said that his sick mother needed his care. But the manager responded with a cynical tone, suggesting that Xiao Hang's father should care for her instead. If that wasn't possible, then a relative should step in. The manager even added that leave might be considered if his mother were in critical condition. Just then, the woman on the live stream thanked a user named Big Brother, the manager's alias on the platform, after receiving the expensive virtual rocket. Seeing his boss's apathy, Xiao Hang's anger boiled over. But the manager continued to belittle him, saying that Xiao Hang needed to sacrifice more if he wanted to get promoted. In the fast-paced world of new media, speed was everything. If they were late in delivering news, their department's performance would plummet. Xiao Hang offered a solution. He was willing to work remotely and stay connected at all times. But the manager refused, saying that if he really needed to leave, he might as well resign. The manager then ordered him to finalize his financial paperwork and leave immediately. Xiao Hang was a graduate of a third-tier university. He had only been hired because the company needed extra staff. Most applicants came from prestigious universities, which made his position feel insignificant. Trends were constantly changing and employees were easily replaceable. The manager advised him to rethink his decision. At that moment, Xiao Hang lit a cigarette. Just as he began to reflect, his phone rang. His father's voice came through the line, urging him to come home immediately. The hospital had granted them some leeway, but the overdue medical bills for his mother's treatment could no longer be postponed. If the bills weren't paid soon, the hospital would discharge her against their will. His father had tried everything to negotiate, but the hospital had started to take a firm stance. From the tone of his father's voice, Xiao Hang sensed deeper financial troubles. He promised to come home right away and help settle the medical expenses. His father explained that he had already borrowed money from friends and relatives. Their health insurance had also been maxed out. Still, Xiao Hang was determined to help. He didn't want his family to be indebted to relatives. As the eldest son, Xiao Hang felt a deep sense of responsibility. But his father urged him to focus on his own life in the city, not wanting to burden him. In the past year and a half, Xiao Hang had earned a monthly salary of 5,000 yuan. He lived in a dormitory with roommates and led a frugal lifestyle. Yet, his savings amounted to only 50,000 yuan, just enough to cover the immediate hospital expenses. For more than 20 years, Xiao Hang had lived by the rules. But today everything changed. With unwavering resolve, he decided to resign from the inhumane company. He was determined to find a better place to channel his talents. His next destination, the Human Resources Department. 20 minutes later, his status officially changed to unemployed. He made this decision with full awareness, yet the bitterness of losing his job lingered. In an unstable job market, quitting without a backup plan was undeniably reckless. As Xiao Hang stepped out of the office, something extraordinary happened. A system called Absolute Freedom suddenly activated. It appeared because he had made a decision that went against his ancestors' expectations. As a reward, he received 138,888 yuan, or approximately $112,000. That day, Siohang's life changed forever. With trembling hands, Siohang pulled out his phone and opened his banking app. A notification popped up on the screen. 138,888 yuan had been deposited into his account. He hesitated, thinking it might be some kind of scam. But after checking his balance, disbelief struck him. The money was really there. His doubts vanished. The absolute freedom system had fully activated. Now he just needed to understand how it worked. He was eager to find out if this system could genuinely help him. The only way to know was to test it firsthand. His thoughts drifted when, suddenly, a woman's voice called out to him. It was Gao Wen, a popular blogger with 8 million subscribers. She asked about her upcoming livestream schedule. There was a reason behind her fame. Her beauty and charm were captivating. Siohang froze, barely registering her words. Seeing his confusion, Gao Wen smiled and teased him, asking if he was finally starting to see her as a woman. Siohang responded with a playful joke, as he always did. With her signature sweet voice, Gao Wen revealed her concern. Her viewer donations had begun to decline, and she needed more resources. Siohang had once been responsible for managing Gao Wen's live streams. She was known as the dancing goddess, captivating her audience with grace and elegance. Despite her popularity, she never acted arrogant. She was warm and easygoing. But things had changed. Siohang had resigned. Calmly, he told her that the company would assign her a new manager soon. Gao Wen's expression shifted. Worry clouded her face as she asked why he had made such a sudden decision. Siohang felt a twinge of sympathy. Gao Wen had always treated him well. But it was over. Their paths had diverged. Still, Gao Wen didn't give up. In a soft, pleading tone, she said she preferred working with him. She didn't trust anyone else. For a moment, Siohang wavered. Her charm was undeniable. But he reminded himself not to be swayed. Gao Wen was surprised. Normally, Siohang always played along with her teasing. But this time he seemed different. With a touch of sadness, she asked if he really intended to leave. If she had asked that question in the past, Siohang might have hesitated. But now, everything was different. He just wanted a long vacation. Gao Wen kept trying to persuade him. She was an expert at it. Siohang began to falter, but he quickly steeled himself. His decision was final. The system promised him unimaginable wealth. With that kind of money, he could easily find 10 women like Gao Wen. After calming himself, Siohang looked at Gao Wen and casually suggested she fix her nose makeup. It looked a bit uneven. Gao Wen's eyes widened. No one had ever pointed out a flaw like that before. Instinctively, she pulled out a mirror and checked. To her surprise, Siohang was right. Her nose makeup was slightly off. The live stream was about to start, and she had little time to fix it. At that moment, a notification flashed before Siohang's eyes. The absolute freedom system praised his honesty and self-control. For rejecting temptation and speaking his mind truthfully, he was rewarded with an additional 23,000 yuan. Siohang was stunned. He had simply stated the truth and received a reward that big. His mind began to race. If resisting temptation brought in that kind of reward, what would happen if he made his former boss crawl and beg before him? Stay tuned for the next chapter. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to catch the continuation of the story.